Hey, what is going on guys? It's Connor here from MenuDocs and welcome back to a new video on the channel. In today's video, this is episode number 20. I have been teasing it for quite a while now. There is going to be a massive change to the whole way that we set up the bot. So basically the first thing we're going to start with is we're obviously going to have to make some new files. This being one of the, we got a handler file here and we're going to stick a command.js in this, a console.js in this, as well as a event.js in this. Now each one of these is going to have a module exports in it, so module exports, and then it's probably going to have to pass bot. So we'll pass bot, bam, and then we'll do that, and we'll copy this into all the files here. So we'll go back to the index file here and we'll grab the console listener, because that is something we're gonna have to remove out of the file if you want to get it down to 8 lines. I'm gonna go ahead and rename this to prompt. And now that that is done, that is pretty much it for the console.js. We don't need that anymore. And then we're also just gonna completely delete that here, as well as FS, the requirement for the old event handler. And we're gonna start off by talking about not requiring the whole of a module. So something like discord.js, I have originally done it so I require a whole module, when in reality we've never really needed to do this. So we can just open up curly braces here and then just require the small bit of the module that we need. I'm going to remove the disable of that everyone, because it's not needed. And then we're also just going to change this to be token. And then we're gonna remove this down here, and then obviously this will be moved out completely, but I'll get to that in a second. So we look at this right here and it's 2 lines and it basically sets it as the same thing. So we're gonna go here and do commands and then aliases, and that right there is an array. And then we're gonna use a loop, a for each loop, and then for each we're gonna basically add each one of these as a new definition for new collection here. So now that this is in, we're just going to completely move that. Sorry, not move it, completely remove it is more of what I should have said. And now we're going to do console command as well as event here. Then we're also going to do a for each loop for this. So I put X as a placeholder because it doesn't necessarily have to be anything in particular. You could change it to H to be more relevant, and then above can be C for new collection. But this is just the way I do it. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the handlers, and then we're going to put X here. So basically it's going to go, number 1 is going to go through, and then it's going to be console, then number 2, command, number 3, event. And then also on the outside of here, we're going to want to pass through bot. So obviously we've done all this. We've got an event and command handler to do. So let's get straight into that. So we're obviously going to start off with the event handler so we can move the message event out of the index.js. And we're going to use a module called FS. And if you haven't got this already downloaded, it's pretty much used in a lot of the tutorials on YouTube for making Discord bots. But we're going to require it here, and we're only going to require the 1 bit of the FS module that we need. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we're going to do const load equals does, and then we're going to have an arrow function there which will also open. I like to add some spacing in here just because it's neater, and it also tells you, you know, I kind of go in a pyramid or an angle, so this will be the closer to that, that will be the closer to that, and so on. Next, we're going to do const events equals read the sync. That is not an equal sign right there. We need an equal sign. And then we're going to do, we're going to read the events folder. So we have events here. We're going to put these into categories. So we'll do that now, actually. We'll do guild and then client. That is not what I wanted. Then we'll do client. Now, we're obviously going to move these into here, because they are not anything to do with a guild. And then we're going to have a message.js in here. That will be relevant in a second. So we're going to go back here, /events, and then we're going to do slash, and then right here. Remember to use template literals. If you don't know what they are, they're the kind of backticks. They're not commas or quotes or apostrophes, as a lot of people keep using. A thing with FS as well is a little bit weird. So obviously this right here would say it would go back into the directory we're in, but for some reason this manages to load the events folder itself, even though it's not in the same directory. So we're gonna do d ends with, if I can type right, ends with, and then we're gonna check for .js, and this will only go through the files that have .js at the end. Next, we're going to use something that we have never used in a tutorial before. We're going to use a for loop. So we're going to do for let file of events, and then we're going to open a params here. And again, we're going to have the kind of angle going here. And then we're going to do const ev, which is basically const event. And then we're going to require the events correctly here. So this completes it for me. And I don't know if everyone's going to have that, but it just completes it for me there. And then we're going to do file right here. So basically, events is going to bring back, for instance, an array of names, blah, blah, blah. And then for each of these, we're going to go through and require them. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to do let ename equal file.split, and then we're going to split it on the dot here. So basically it's going to come back as event name, and then for instance JS, and then after that what we're going to do is we're only going to ask for the first input of that, so it's only going to come back with the event name. Now obviously this means that you're going to need to name your events correctly. So if you were to name this msg.js, it would not work, it would not read it. Just make sure that you come back and name your events correctly. Next, we're going to do that and then add a comma. We're going to do evert, and then we're going to do bind, and we're going to bind to null, not bool, null. And then we're going to obviously pass bot into the files there. If you want to, you can go through and add semicolons. They're not really necessary, but obviously some people like doing it. Next, we're going to add another loop here. And we're going to go through and require the folders there. So for each, and then X, and then we're going to load X. And that will basically be it. I've done a goof here. So obviously we've passed does. You just want to go past and put an S there. Obviously you can remove the S and just keep it like duh. But we're going to have it like that. And then for really, I've made it so that we can just pretty much copy paste this thing. Obviously there's some changes, so we have to change this to commands, and then that should be alright apart from this part here. I'm going to put commands there. We want to put commands here, and then we also want to put commands there. Now we need to put a space there, and then this stuff right here we can get rid of that. And then we'll also do let pull, and then we're going to require the pull or the name, and then we're going to do bot.commands.set pull.config.name, and we're going to put a comma and then pull. Now something I didn't do in the last handler is do a check for aliases. Basically what it does is it just goes through, thinks it has aliases, and if it doesn't, it breaks the collection and therefore breaks the bot, and that's why there's a lot of errors with that. But we're going to do pull.config.aliases here, and this is going to check if aliases is true, and then once we do that, we're going to do pull.config.aliases.forEach, and this means for each alias we're going to do a, and then do bot aliases.set, and that's going to grab that collection that we just defined in the index folder, and then config name, and then this is basically the commands folder done. So we've got events, command, and then we're also going to go over to the message event now, and obviously we're going to do the good thing and require the prefix. So we need to go require, and then equals require, and then we're going to require the bot config here. So we're going to do 2 dots, a slash, and then we're going to do 2 more dots and then another slash, and that's going to take us back I believe 2 directories. I know it's a bit weird, and to be honest it's a bit hard to kind of interpret when you're first going for it. But trust me, that's exactly what you want. And now we're going to do module.exports, and then we want to do async, and we're going to go do bot and message as the pass variables here. So basically what we want to do is we go back to the index, and we can copy some stuff here. So we'll just copy the whole thing to start off with. We're going to change it up a little bit, so we can just delete this whole thing here, and that will put it down to 8 lines in the index.js, which is exactly what you want. The index is not supposed to be long whatsoever, so the fact that we're requiring the modules that we need to then run the bot correctly, that's exactly what you want. So we're going to go back to this message event here, and we're going to completely remove the slicing of the prefix. So basically that's what you need. Just make sure, you know, to clean up your stuff a bit. And then we also want to just completely basically remove this stuff here. The next we're going to do let args equal message.content.slice. Then we're going to slice the prefix length. So it doesn't really matter how long your prefix is, it will slice it completely. Then we're going to do trim, and then we're going to do split. And now we're going to use something that we've never used in these tutorials, and that's regex. If you don't know what regex is, actually I believe we have used regex before, except now we're using it in the command caller. So then we're going to do let cmd equal args.shift, and then we're going to go to lowercase, and that means that you can write your command in as, for instance, an exclamation mark can be your prefix, and you can put your command in like that, and it will basically put your whole command to lowercase. And that's very important to note, that you should write your commands as like the command name down here is lowercase. And we're just about to clean that up. We're going to go in here, and we're going to do new folders. Now I believe we have moderation commands, we have owner commands, and now we have for instance, we can just do miscellaneous commands. And now we can obviously move these in correctly. Miscellaneous up here. Eval is an owner command. Help is not a moderation command. So now those are all in the correct files. We want to just go back here, and then we want to change to what we want here. So we want miscellaneous, then we want moderation, and then we want the owner one to be loaded as well. Now we're going to change the format of how these are displayed here, and we're also going to change some of this stuff, and we're going to get rid of super agent. So now we're going to use something called node fetch. If you don't know what that is, then definitely something you should Google. Bot config should not be needed, and then we should only need one color, which is that. So yep, and then we're going to get rid of this completely. Now we're going to go down here and quickly install npm install node-fetch. Right, so now that's installed, we can get rid of that. And we're basically going to change the format of this stuff here. So we're just going to quickly get rid of that, and then we're going to open it up here, and then this can be a colon. We're going to completely move this up here, so we get rid of that, and then get rid of that, and then this will go here. You add a comma here, and then you will change that to colons, and then this will be how the stuff is set out from now on. So this is the basic layout for how the command files. So basically how this works is we want to change this to fetch, and then we want to get rid of this guy. We'll put that guy down a bit, and then on this next line we want to do .then res arrow function res.json that, and then we want to do body, and then we want to pass that through here. We're going to want to stick this underneath here. We'll do it there, and then this should basically work as a command. We'll remove the parameters there, they're not needed. And then For instance, this can be removed. We can say that. And then test bot, that can be something like this, for instance, and then we can put that into, oh, actually we can just remove this completely. No need to stringify something if it's not needed. Like for instance here, it's going to need to be stringified, and then that should basically be that command there. Except from now, I forgot to do that, and we also remove that, and then these will change color. So now that we've got all this down, there is all these other command files that we got to do. I have completely changed this. If we just open up the updated version here, we open a file, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. So as you can tell, all this stuff has been updated right now. It's all updated. So it will be, the code itself will be on the GitHub. If you guys don't know where the GitHub is, it is on screen right now and also down in the description. But anyways, guys, I'm going to end the video off here. I have obviously gone through and told you guys what to do and how to change some stuff. And I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Please be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next MenuDocs video. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.